with a picture of Penarth Pier, which is in South Wales, and a nice transparent seagull. We're going to use a series of blend modes and brushes, and we're going to end up giving this kind of a picture dry brush effect. And okay, quick distraction there. I've totally forgotten what I'm doing. Anyway, here is my one that's finished. So we've got effects, we've got drop shadows, there's a nice little drop shadow effect on a transparent seagull, and brushes on this picture. And when you come to do the second one, you'll need another transparent picture. Remember that we've got that program called Hemera. So you go Start All Programs, Hemera. And also, what have we got? Oh, Paint Shop Pro tubes in the V drive. They're all transparent. So that would do for your second one. I'll put this away. Here is Penarth Pier. Okay, first of all, we're going to duplicate it. Control J to duplicate. And then I'm going to rename it. I've got right-click, Layer Properties, and then I'm going to make this one Lines, so that we know which layer we're talking about as we go through it. All right, let's put our blur on. Filter, blur. Remember, I'm on Lines. And then I want Smart Blur at the bottom there. Now, the mode that we want is Edge Only. Yours will default to normal, edge only. Go with the default. Radius and threshold is fine. This will put a black picture with white lines. What we want is a white picture with black lines. So we'll have to invert that image. Control I to invert it. Control I. Okay, we're going to duplicate this one. Control J to duplicate. And then we're going to rename this one. So right-click on Layer 1, Layer Properties, and we're going to type Effect. And then OK. Now we're going to get that nice dry brush filter effect. And where that is up in Filter, and then Artistic, and we want what's called a dry brush. And you can see the sort of effects it's going to give, kind of blurred. 282 sounds good. Those were my defaults. I'm not quite sure what you've got, but that looks okay for me. 282 and then OK. Now, we're still doing our stuff. Could go off for coffee. Okay, finally. Okay. Get rid of the visibility for effect, and now click on lines. So we're working on lines, and we will also see anything that happens to lines. What I want is to use the eraser and get a nice brush effect, and then here I'm going to end up with this. Can you see the difference in colors here? Every time I lifted the brush and placed it back down again, I got a different effect. So if you want it all to be one effect, don't lift the brush as you're erasing. But you're looking to get a sort of a slappy, half-painted watercolor on a sketch. And then I'm going to minimize you. So get your eraser tool, choose a brush. Let me show you what you'll get. You could choose these. I would like some of these might be nice. I'm looking for a kind of a wet brush effect. You could go online and get them, download them, put them in the brushes folder in your Photoshop. You can choose any of these. If you're in CS2, you get a much larger effect options. I'm going to go for calligraphic. Yes, I do want to replace. What does that look like? Not too interesting. Drop shadow, faux finish. Yes, I do. What do you think? Not too many of them. I'll go for that one. And then OK. Right. There. So you've got... So it's your choice. Play around with the brushes. What do the brushes do is basically what you're doing. Now, you're looking for a smudgy sort of effect, and feel free to go through and change your brush. You don't have to have the one type of brush. And leave some of it looking like you've been the artist, and what you're doing is painting over your sketch. There's no right or wrong, simply are you happy with the results? The slower you go on this brush, the more intense the effect is. Okay, and splurge away. So it's the first effect that the artist would get when you start painting in your sketch. There we go. And that's going to do me. Okay, so we're removing part of the top copy. Alrighty. And then you could darken the opacity. Ooh. Now, what do you think? Higher? What about effect? Let's see what that does. It's coming through. Alright. I'll leave it at that. There, bringing that way down. Okay, now I'm going to combine this into a new one. So you give yourself a new layer, and then you hold down the Alt key, layer, don't let go of that mouse, merge visible. There you have it. Everything is now in one. And then I'm going to put a sandstone texturizer. So I go to Filter, Texture, Texturizer. Canvas is probably too heavy an effect. You may like it, that will be fine. You may want a different texture. I'm going to go with canvas. I'll go with the defaults, and we'll see what that does. Rendering. And then if you do it and you think, oh gosh, that's too much of an effect. Oh, I quite like that one. But I'll show you what you do anyway. Edit and then Fade Texturizer and just reduce the opacity a bit. And that fades. It's not quite such a heavy effect on it. That looks quite good though. Okay, let's open my seagull. There he is. Get my Move tool. And then I'm going to, or you just hit on Control actually and you get the Move tool. Drag and drop. There he goes. Click. And then move him into position. There. If you go to Edit and Free Transform or Control T, hold the Shift key to maintain the proportion of the seagull and then just make him any size that you want. Maybe you want him to be bigger. Double click to get rid of the bounding box. There we have it. And then all I'll do now is put a little drop shadow on him to give him a sense of depth and perspective. Up it comes, and remember you can play around here or else you can move it. There. When you're happy, okay. And that is Penarth Pier. So 2 of these to do. Remember your transparency.